Sun Microsystems, Incorporated was a company that sold computers, computer components, computer software, and information technology services, and that created the Java programming language, and the network file system. Sun significantly evolved several key computing technologies, among them Unix, RISC processors, thin client computing, and virtualized computing. Sun was founded on February 24, 1982. At its height, Sun headquarters were in Santa Clara, California, on the former West Campus of the Agnews Developmental Center. On January 27, 2010, Sun was acquired by Oracle Corporation for $7.4 billion, based on an agreement signed on April 20, 2009. The following month, Sun Microsystems, Incorporated was merged with Oracle USA, Incorporated to become Oracle America, Incorporated. Sun products included computer servers and workstations built on its own RISC-based RISC processor architecture, as well as on x86-based AMD's Opteron and Intel's Xeon processors. Storage systems and a suite of software products including the Solaris operating system, developer tools, web infrastructure software, and identity management applications. Other technologies include the Java platform, MySQL, and NFS. Sun was a proponent of open systems in general and Unix in particular, and a major contributor to open-source software. Sun's main manufacturing facilities were located in Hillsboro, Oregon, and Linlithgow, Scotland. History: the initial design for what became Sun's first Unix workstation, the Sun 1, was conceived by Andy Bechtolsheim when he was a graduate student at Stanford University in Palo Alto, California. Bechtolsheim originally designed the Sun workstation for the Stanford University Network Communications Project as a personal CAD workstation. It was designed around the Motorola 68000 processor with an advanced memory management unit to support the Unix operating system with virtual memory support. He built the first ones from spare parts obtained from Stanford's Department of Computer Science and Silicon Valley supply houses. On February 24, 1982, Vinod Khosla, Andy Bechtolsheim, and Scott McNally, all Stanford graduate students, founded Sun Microsystems. Bill Joy of Berkeley, a primary developer of the Berkeley software distribution, joined soon after and is counted as one of the original founders. The Sun name is derived from the initials of the Stanford University network. Sun was profitable from its first quarter in July 1982. Sun's initial public offering was in 1986 under the stock symbol SUNW, for Sun Workstations. The symbol was changed in 2007 to Java. Sun stated that the brand awareness associated with its Java platform better represented the company's current strategy. Sun's logo, which features 4 interleaved copies of the word Sun, was designed by Professor Vaughn Pratt, also of Stanford. The initial version of the logo was orange and had the sides oriented horizontally and vertically, but it was subsequently redesigned so as to appear to stand on one corner and the color changed to purple. The bubble, and its aftermath: in the dot-com bubble, Sun began making much more money, and its shares rose dramatically. It also began spending much more, hiring workers and building itself out. Some of this was because of genuine demand, but much was from web startup companies anticipating business that would never happen. In 2000, the bubble burst. Sales in Sunday's important hardware division went into free fall as customers closed shop and auctioned off high-end servers. Several quarters of steep losses led to executive departures, rounds of layoffs, and other cost-cutting. In December 2001, the stock fell to the 1998, pre-bubble level of about $100. But it kept falling, faster than many other tech companies. A year later it had dipped below $10 but bounced back to $20. In mid-2004, Sun closed their Newark, California, factory and consolidated all manufacturing to Hillsboro, Oregon. That factory later closed, in 2006. Post-crash focus. In 2004, Sun cancelled 2 major processor projects which emphasized high instruction-level parallelism and operating frequency. Instead, the company chose to concentrate on processors optimized for multi-threading and multi-processing, such as the UltraSpark T1 processor. The company also announced a collaboration with Fujitsu to use the Japanese company's processor chips in mid-range and high-end Sun servers. These servers were announced on April 17, 2007 as the M-Series, part of the SPARC Enterprise Series. In February 2005, Sun announced the Sun Grid, a grid computing deployment on which it offered utility computing services priced at $1 per CPU hour for processing and per GB month for storage. This offering built upon an existing 3,000 CPU server farm used for internal R&D for over 10 years, which Sun marketed as being able to achieve 97% utilization. In August 2005, the first commercial use of this grid was announced for financial risk simulations, which was later launched as its first software-as-a-service product. In January 2005, Sun reported a net profit of $19 a million for fiscal 2005 second quarter, for the first time in 3 years. This was followed by net loss of $9 a million on GAAP basis for the third quarter 2005, as reported on April 14, 2005. In January 2007, Sun reported a net GAAP profit of $126 a million on revenue of $3.337 a billion for its fiscal second quarter. Shortly following that news, it was announced that Kohlberg Kravis Roberts would invest $700 a million in the company. Sun had engineering groups in Bangalore, Beijing, Dublin, Grenoble, Hamburg, Prague, St. Petersburg, Tel Aviv, Tokyo, and Trondheim. In 2007–2008, Sun posted revenue of $13.8 a billion and had $2 a billion in cash. First quarter 2008 losses were $1.68 a billion. Revenue fell 7% to $12.99 a billion. Sun's stock lost 80% of its value November 2007 to November 2008, reducing the company's market value to $3 a billion. With falling sales to large corporate clients, Sun announced plans to lay off 5,000 to 6,000 workers, or 18% of its workforce. It expected to save $700 a million to $800 a million a year as a result of the moves, while also taking up to $600 a million in charges. Sun acquisitions. 1987, Transept Systems, a high-performance graphics hardware company. 1987, Sitka Corporation, networking systems linking the Macintosh with IBM PCs. 1987, Centrum Systems West, maker of networking software for PCs, Macs and Sun Systems. 1988, Folio, Incorporated, developer of intelligent font scaling technology and the F3 font format. 1991, Interactive Systems Corporation's Intel Unix OS division, from Eastman Kodak Company. 1992, Prax Technologies, Incorporated, developers of the Windows emulation technology that eventually became Wabi. 1994, Thinking Machines Corporation Hardware Division. 1996, Lighthouse Design Limited. 1996, Cray Business Systems Division, from Silicon Graphics. 1996, Integrated Microproducts, specializing in fault-tolerant servers. 1996, Thinking Machines Corporation Software Division. February 1997, Longview Technologies, LLC. August 1997, DIBA, technology supplier for the information appliance industry. September 1997, Chorus Systems, creators of Chorus OS. November 1997, Encore Computer Corporation's storage business. 1998, Red Cape Software. 1998, iPlanet, a small software company that produced the Pony Espresso mobile email client. Its name for the Sun Netscape Software Alliance. June 1998, Dakota Scientific Software, Incorporated development tools for high-performance computing. July 1998, NetDynamics developers of the NetDynamics application server. October 1998, Beduin, small software company that produced the Impact small-footprint Java-based web browser for mobile devices. 1999, Star Division, German software company, and with its Star Office, which was later released as open source under the name OpenOffice.org, 1999, McStrat Corporation, a company in Milpitas, California selling fiber channel storage servers. 1999, Forte, an enterprise software company specializing in integration solutions and developer of the Forte 4 Gallons and Teamware. 1999, NetBeans, produced a modular IDE written in Java, based on a student project at Charles University in Prague. March 2000, Innersoft International, Incorporated, a software company specializing in highly scalable MTAs and directory services. July 2000, Grideware, a software company whose products managed the distribution of computing jobs across multiple computers. September 2000, Cobalt Networks, an internet appliance manufacturer. December 2000, High Ground, with a suite of web-based management solutions. 2001, LSC, Incorporated, an Eagan, Minnesota company that developed storage and archive management file system and quick file system QFS file systems for backup and archive. March 2002, Cluster Systems, June 2002, Affera Web Systems, developed SPARC processor-based technology. September 2002, Pyrus Networks, Intelligent Storage Services, November 2002, TerraSpring, Infrastructure Automation Software, June 2003, Pixo, added to the Sun Content Delivery Server, August 2003, CenterRun, Incorporated. December 2003, Ovaset Technologies, Identity Management, January 2004 Nauticus Networks, February 2004, Kellier, founded by original Sun founder Andy Bechtolsheim, developed AMD-based 64-bit servers. January 2005, Seven Space, a multi-platform managed services provider. May 2005, Tarantella, Incorporated, for $25 million. June 2005, CBeyond, a service-oriented architecture software company for $387 million. June 2005, Procom Technology, Incorporated Zen ASIP Assets, August 2005, Storage Tech, February 2006, Aduva, software for Solaris and Linux patch management. October 2006, Neogent, April 2007, Savage, the Savage OS, a Java OS for mobile phones. September 2007, Cluster File Systems, Incorporated. November 2007, Valad, Enterprise Role Management and Identity Compliance Solutions. February 2008, MySQLAB, the company offering the open-source database MySQL. February 2008, Inotc GmbH, developer of the VirtualBox virtualization product. April 2008, Montalvo Systems, x86 microprocessor startup acquired before First Silicon. January 2009, QLair, a software company with cloud computing solutions. Major stockholders. As of May 11, 2009, the following shareholders held over 100,000 common shares of Sun, and at $9.40 per share offered by Oracle they received the amounts indicated when the acquisition closed. Hardware. For the first decade of Sun's history, the company positioned its products as technical workstations, competing successfully as a low-cost vendor during the workstation wars of the 1980s. It then shifted its hardware product line to emphasize servers and storage. High-level telecom control systems such as operational support system service predominantly used Sun equipment. This use is due mainly to the company basing its products around a mature and very stable version of the Unix operating system and the support service that Sun provides. Motorola-based systems. Sun originally used Motorola 68000 family central processing units for the Sun 1 through Sun 3 computer series. The Sun 1 employed a 68000 CPU, the Sun 2 series, a 68010. The Sun 3 series was based on the 68020, with the later Sun 3X using the 68030. SPARC-based systems. In 1987, the company began using SPARC, a RISC processor architecture of its own design, in its computer systems, starting with the Sun 4 line. SPARC was initially a 32-bit architecture until the introduction of the SPARC v9 architecture in 1995, which added 64-bit extensions. Sun has developed several generations of SPARC-based computer systems, including the SPARC Station, Ultra and Sun Blade series of workstations, and the SPARC Server, Netra, Enterprise and Sun Fire line of servers. In the early 1990s the company began to extend its product line to include large-scale symmetric multiprocessing servers, starting with the 4-processor SPARC Server 600MP. This was followed by the 8-processor SPARC Server 1000 and 20-processor SPARC Enter 2000, which were based on work done in conjunction with Xerox PARC. In 1995 the company introduced Sun Ultra series machines that were equipped with the first 64-bit implementation of SPARC processors. In the late 1990s the transformation of product line in favor of large 64-bit SMP systems was accelerated by the acquisition of Cray Business Systems division from Silicon Graphics. Their 32-bit, 64-processor Cray Super Server 6400, related to the SPARC Enter, led to the 64-bit Sun Enterprise 10000 high-end server. In September 2004 Sun made available systems with Ultra SPARC 4, which was the first multi-core SPARC processor. It was followed by Ultra SPARC 4 Plus in September 2005 and its revisions with higher clock speeds in 2007. These CPUs were used in the most powerful, enterprise-class high-end CCNUMA servers developed by Sun, such as Sun Fire E25K. In November 2005 Sun launched the Ultra SPARC T1, notable for its ability to concurrently run 32 threads of execution on 8 processor cores. Its intent was to drive more efficient use of CPU resources, which is of particular importance in data centers, where there is an increasing need to reduce power and air conditioning demands, much of which comes from the heat generated by CPUs. The T1 was followed in 2007 by the Ultra SPARC T2, which extended the number of threads per core from 4 to 8. Sun has open-sourced the design specifications of both the T1 and T2 processors via the OpenSPARC project. In 2006, Sun has also ventured into the Blade server market with the Sun Blade. In April 2007 Sun released the SPARC Enterprise server products, jointly designed by Sun and Fujitsu and based on Fujitsu SPARC 64.6 and later processors. The M-class SPARC enterprise systems include high-end reliability and availability features. Later T-series servers have also been badged SPARC Enterprise rather than Sun Fire. In April 2008 Sun released servers with Ultra SPARC T2 Plus, which is an SMP-capable version of Ultra SPARC T2, available in 2 or 4 processor configurations. It was the first cool-thread CPU with multi-processor capability, and it made possible to build standard rack-mounted servers that could simultaneously process up to massive 256 CPU threads in hardware, which is considered a record in the industry. Since 2010, all further development of Sun machines based on SPARC architecture is done as a part of Oracle Corporation Hardware Division. x86-based systems. In the late 1980s, Sun also marketed an Intel 80386-based machine, the Sun 386i. This was designed to be a hybrid system, running Sun OS but at the same time supporting DOS applications. This only remained on the market for a brief time. A follow-up 486i upgrade was announced, but only a few prototype units were ever manufactured. Sun's brief first foray into x86 systems ended in the early 1990s, as it decided to concentrate on SPARC and retire the last Motorola Systems and 386i products, a move dubbed by McNally as all the wood behind one arrowhead. Even so, Sun kept its hand in the x86 world, as a release of Solaris for PC compatibles began shipping in 1993. In 1997 Sun acquired Deba, Incorporated, followed later by the acquisition of Cobalt Networks in 2000, with the aim of building network appliances. Sun also marketed a network computer. The Java Station was a diskless system designed to run Java applications. Although none of these business initiatives were particularly successful, the Cobalt purchase gave Sun a toehold for its return to the x86 hardware market. In 2002, Sun introduced its first general-purpose x86 system, the LX50, based in part on previous Cobalt system expertise. This was also Sun's first system announced to support Linux as well as Solaris. In 2003, Sun announced a strategic alliance with AMD to produce x86/x64 servers based on AMD's Opteron processor. This was followed shortly by Sun's acquisition of Kelia, a startup founded by original Sun founder Andy Bechtolsheim, which had been focusing on high-performance AMD-based servers. The following year, Sun launched the Opteron-based Sunfire V20Z and V40Z servers, and the Java Workstation W1100Z and W2100Z workstations. On September 12, 2005, Sun unveiled a new range of Opteron-based servers, the Sunfire X2100, X4100 and X4200 servers. These were designed from scratch by a team led by Bechtolsheim to address heat and power consumption issues commonly faced in data centers. In July 2006, the Sunfire X4500 and X4600 systems were introduced, extending a line of x64 systems that support not only Solaris, but also Linux and Microsoft Windows. On January 22, 2007, Sun announced a broad strategic alliance with Intel. Intel endorsed Solaris as a mainstream operating system and as its mission-critical Unix for its Xeon processor-based systems, and contributed engineering resources to Open Solaris. Sun began using the Intel Xeon processor in its x64 server line, starting with the Sunblade X6250 server module introduced in June 2007. On May 5, 2008, AMD announced its Operating System Research Center expanded its focus to include optimization to Sun's Open Solaris and XVM virtualization products for AMD-based processors. Software. Although Sun was initially known as a hardware company, its software history began with its founding in 1982. Co-founder Bill Joy was one of the leading Unix developers of the time, having contributed the VI editor, the C shell, and significant work developing TCP/IP in the BSD Unix OS. Sun later developed software such as the Java programming language and acquired software such as StarOffice, VirtualBox and MySQL. Sun used community-based and open-source licensing of its major technologies, and for its support of its products with other open-source technologies. GNOME-based desktop software called Java Desktop System was first distributed as a Linux implementation then offered as part of the Solaris operating system. Sun supported its Java Enterprise System on Linux. It released the source code for Solaris under the Open Source Common Development and Distribution License, via the Open Solaris community. Sun's positioning includes a commitment to indemnify users of some software from intellectual property disputes concerning that software. It offers support services on a variety of pricing bases, including per employee and per socket. A 2006 report prepared for the EU by UN Numerit stated that Sun was the largest corporate contributor to open source movements in the world. According to this report, Sun's open source contributions exceed the combined total of the next 5 largest commercial contributors. Operating systems. Sun is best known for its Unix systems, which have a reputation for system stability and a consistent design philosophy. Sun's first workstation shipped with Unisoft V7 Unix. Later in 1982 Sun began providing Sun OS, a customized 4.1 Bahamian dollars Unix, as the operating system for its workstations. In the late 1980s, AT&T tapped Sun to help them develop the next release of their branded Unix, and in 1988 announced they would purchase up to a 20% stake in Sunday. Unix System V Release 4 was jointly developed by AT&T and Sun. Sun used SVR4 as the foundation for Solaris 2X, which became the successor to Sun OS 4.1X. By the mid-1990s, the ensuing Unix wars had largely subsided, AT&T had sold off their Unix interests, and the relationship between the two companies was significantly reduced. From 1992 Sun also sold Interactive Unix, an operating system it acquired when it bought Interactive Systems Corporation from Eastman Kodak Company. This was a popular Unix variant for the PC platform and a major competitor to market leader SCO Unix. Sun's focus on interactive Unix diminished in favor of Solaris on both SPARC and x86 systems. It was dropped as a product in 2001. Sun dropped the Solaris 2X version numbering scheme after the Solaris 2.6 release. The following version was branded Solaris 7. This was the first 64-bit release, intended for the new UltraSpark CPUs based on the SPARC V9 architecture. Within the next 4 years, the successors Solaris 8 and Solaris 9 were released in 2000 and 2002 respectively. Following several years of difficult competition and loss of server market share to competitors' Linux-based systems, Sun began to include Linux as part of his strategy in 2002. Sun supported both Red Hat Enterprise Linux and SUSE Linux Enterprise Server on its x64 systems. Companies such as Canonical Limited, Wind River Systems and Monte Vista also supported their versions of Linux on Sun's SPARC-based systems. In 2004, after having cultivated a reputation as one of Microsoft's most vocal antagonists, Sun entered into a joint relationship with them, resolving various legal entanglements between the two companies and receiving $1.95 billion in settlement payments from them. Sun supported Microsoft Windows on its x64 systems, and announced other collaborative agreements with Microsoft, including plans to support each other's virtualization environments. In 2005, the company released Solaris 10. The new version included a large number of enhancements to the operating system, as well as very novel features, previously unseen in the industry. Solaris 10 update releases continued through the next 8 years, the last release from Sun Microsystems being Solaris 1010/09. The following updates were released by Oracle under the new license agreement. The final release is Solaris 10 and 1/13. Previously, Sun offered a separate variant of Solaris called Trusted Solaris, which included augmented security features such as multi-level security and a least privilege access model. Solaris 10 included many of the same capabilities as Trusted Solaris at the time of its initial release. Solaris 1011/06 included Solaris Trusted Extensions, which give it the remaining capabilities needed to make it the functional successor to Trusted Solaris. Following acquisition of Sun, Oracle Corporation continued to develop Solaris operating system, and released Oracle Solaris 11 in November 2011. Java Platform. The Java platform was developed at Sun in the early 1990s with the objective of allowing programs to function regardless of the device they were used on, sparking the slogan "Write once, run anywhere." While this objective was not entirely achieved, Java is regarded as being largely hardware and operating system independent. Java was initially promoted as a platform for client-side applets running inside web browsers. Early examples of Java applications were the Hot Java web browser and the Hot Java Views suite. However, since then Java has been more successful on the server side of the Internet. The platform consists of 3 major parts: the Java programming language, the Java virtual machine, and several Java application programming interfaces. The design of the Java platform is controlled by the vendor and user community through the Java community process. Java is an object-oriented programming language. Since its introduction in late 1995, it became one of the world's most popular programming languages. Java programs are compiled to bytecode, which can be executed by any JVM, regardless of the environment. The Java APIs provide an extensive set of library routines. These APIs evolved into the Standard Edition, which provides basic infrastructure and GUI functionality. The Enterprise Edition, aimed at large software companies implementing enterprise-class application servers. And the Micro Edition, used to build software for devices with limited resources, such as mobile devices. On November 13, 2006, Sun announced it would be licensing its Java implementation under the GNU General Public License. It released its Java compiler and JVM at the time. In February 2009, Sun entered a battle with Microsoft and Adobe Systems, which promoted rival platforms to build software applications for the Internet. JavaFX was a development platform for music, video and other applications that builds on the Java programming language. Office Suite. In 1999, Sun acquired the German software company Star Division and with it the Office Suite Star Office, which Sun later released as OpenOffice.org under both GNU GPL and the SISSL. OpenOffice.org supported Microsoft Office file formats, was available on many platforms and was used in the open source community. The principal differences between Star Office and OpenOffice.org were that Star Office was supported by Sun, was available as either a single-user retail box kit or as per-user blocks of licensing for the enterprise, and included a wider range of fonts and document templates and a commercial-quality spell checker. Star Office also contained commercially licensed functions and add-ons. In OpenOffice.org these were either replaced by open-source or free variants, or are not present at all. Both packages had native support for the open document format. Virtualization and data center automation software. In 2007, Sun announced the Sun XVM virtualization and data center automation product suite for commodity hardware. Sun also acquired VirtualBox in 2008. Earlier virtualization technologies from Sun like dynamic system domains and dynamic reconfiguration were specifically designed for high-end SPARC servers, and logical domains only supports the Ultra Spark T1 T2 Plus server platforms. Sun marketed Sun Op Center provisioning software for data center automation. On the client side, Sun offered virtual desktop solutions. Desktop environments and applications could be hosted in a data center, with users accessing these environments from a wide range of client devices, including Microsoft Windows PCs, Sunray Virtual Display Clients, Apple Macintoshes, PDAs or any combination of supported devices. A variety of networks were supported, from LAN to WAN or the public Internet. Virtual desktop products included Sunray Server Software, Sun Secure Global Desktop and Sun Virtual Desktop Infrastructure. Database management systems. Sun acquired MySQL AB, the developer of the MySQL database in 2008 for $1 billion. CEO Jonathan Schwartz mentioned in his blog that optimizing the performance of MySQL was one of the priorities of the acquisition. In February 2008, Sun began to publish results of the MySQL performance optimization work. Sun contributed to the PostgreSQL project. On the Java platform, Sun contributed to and supported JavaDB. Other software. Sun offered other software products for software development and infrastructure services. Many were developed in-house. Others come from acquisitions, including Tarantella, of Asset Technologies, CBeyond, and Vara. Sun acquired many of the Netscape non-browser software products as part of a deal involving Netscape's merger with AOL. These software products were initially offered under the iPlanet brand. Once the Sun Netscape alliance ended, they were rebranded as Sun One, and then the Sun Java System. Sun's middleware product was branded as the Java Enterprise System, and marketed for web and application serving, communication, calendaring, directory, identity management and service-oriented architecture. Sun's OpenESP and other software suites were available free of charge on systems running Solaris, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, HP UX, and Windows, with support available optionally. Sun developed data center management software products, which included the Solaris Cluster High Availability software, and a grid management package called Sun Grid Engine and firewall software such as Sunscreen. For network equipment providers and telecommunications customers, Sun developed the Sun Netra High Availability Suite. Sun produced compilers and development tools under the Sun Studio brand, for building and developing Solaris and Linux applications. Sun entered the software as a service market with Zimbly, a social cloud-based computing platform, and Project Kenai, an open-source project hosting service. Storage. Sun sold its own storage systems to complement its system offerings. It has also made several storage-related acquisitions. On June 2, 2005, Sun announced it would purchase Storage Technology Corporation for $4.1 billion in cash, or $37 per share, a deal completed in August 2005. In 2006, Sun introduced the Sun Storage Tech 5800 system, the first application-aware programmable storage solution. In 2008, Sun contributed the source code of the Storage Tech 5800 system under the BSD license. Sun announced the Sun Open Storage Platform in 2008 built with open-source technologies. In late 2008 Sun announced the Sun Storage 7000 Unified Storage Systems. Transparent placement of data in the system's solid-state drives and conventional hard drives was managed by ZFS to take advantage of the speed of SSDs and the economy of conventional hard disks. Other storage products included Sun FireX 4500 storage server and SAM QFS file system and storage management software. HPC Solutions, Sun marketed the Sun Constellation system for high-performance computing. Even before the introduction of the Sun Constellation system in 2007, Sun's products were in use in many of the TOP 500 systems and supercomputing centers, Lustre used by 7 of the top 10 supercomputers in 2008, as well as other industries that need high-performance storage, 6 major oil companies, chip design, and the movie industry. Sun FireX 4500, used by high-energy physics supercomputers to run Dcache, Sun Grid Engine, a popular workload scheduler for clusters and computer farms, Sun Visualization System, allows users of the Tira grid to remotely access the 3D rendering capabilities of the Maverick system at the University of Texas at Austin. Sun Modular Data Center, 2 Sun MDS-20 units are used by the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center. The Sun HPC Cluster Tools product was a set of message passing interface libraries and tools for running parallel jobs on Solaris HPC clusters. Beginning with version 7.0, Sun switched from its own implementation of MPI to OpenMPI, and donated engineering resources to the OpenMPI project. Sun was a participant in the OpenMP Language Committee. Sun Studio compilers and tools implemented the OpenMP specification for shared memory parallelization. In 2006, Sun built the Tsubame supercomputer, which was until June 2008 the fastest supercomputer in Asia. Sun built Ranger at the Texas Advanced Computing Center in 2007. Ranger had a peak performance of over 500 TFLOPS, and was the 6th most powerful supercomputer on the TOP 500 list in November 2008. Sun announced an open Solaris distribution that integrated many of Sun's HPC products and other third-party solutions. Staff. Notable Sun employees included John Gilmore, Josh Weiss, Whitfield Diffie, Radia Perlman, Mark Tremblay, and Ned Fried. Sun was an early advocate of Unix-based networked computing, promoting TCP/IP and especially NFS, as reflected in the company's motto "The network is the computer," coined by John Gage. James Gosling led the team which developed the Java programming language. John Bosack led the creation of the XML specification at W3C. Sun staff published articles on the company's blog site. Staff were encouraged to use the site to blog on any aspect of their work or personal life, with few restrictions placed on staff, other than commercially confidential material. Jonathan I. Schwartz was one of the first CEOs of large companies to regularly blog. His postings were frequently quoted and analyzed in the press. In 2005, Sun Microsystems was one of the first Fortune 500 companies that instituted a formal social media program. Acquisition by Oracle. Sun was sold to Oracle Corporation in 2009. Sun staff were asked to share anecdotes about their experiences at Sun. A website containing videos, stories, and photographs from 27 years at Sun was made available on September 2, 2009. In October, Sun announced a second round of thousands of employees to be laid off, blamed partially on delays in approval of the merger. The transaction completed in early 2010. In January 2011, Oracle agreed to pay $46 million to settle charges that it submitted false claims to U.S. federal government agencies and paid kickbacks to systems integrators. In February 2011, Sun's former Menlo Park, California campus of about 1 million square feet was sold, and it was announced that it would become headquarters for Facebook. The sprawling facility built around an enclosed courtyard had been nicknamed Sun Quentin. On September 1, 2011, Sun India legally became part of Oracle. It had been delayed due to legal issues in Indian court. See also, Callan Data Systems, Global Education Learning Community, Hackathon, Liberty Alliance, List of computer system manufacturers, Open Source University Meetup, Sun Certified Professional, References. Further reading, Hall, Mark. Barry, John. Sunburst, The Ascent of Sun Microsystems. Chicago, Contemporary Books. ISBN A0-8092-3989-2. OCLCA 232948325. Southwick, Karen. High Noon, The Inside Story of Scott McNally and the Rise of Sun Microsystems. New York, John Wiley. ISBN A0-471-29713-5. OCLCA 41404354. External links. Oracle and Sun. Post-merge website. Oracle Corporation. Retrieved June 4, 2011. Sun Microsystems at DMOZ, System News for Sun users. A weekly third-party summary of news about Sun and its products published since 1998.